The race for the White House is already on. It makes headlines, and here with a fall preview of election 2008 is the host of Anderson Cooper 360. What's his name? Anderson Cooper.
It's great to be here. Nice to see you. I feel very short.
We're sitting up tall.
Anderson has the best hair.
Yeah, there's a lot of estrogen. So when you anchored the CNN YouTube debate last month, people say that this is going to change from now on the way elections and debates are going to be thought of. Is it that important?
You know, I'll leave it to others to decide whether or not it really will change. I think it's going to be hard, though, to go back to debates where you don't have some kind of user-generated content. Yeah. This was a debate where anybody who, could log on to YouTube and submit a 30-second question, and I think there was an energy to it and
yes.
sort of a personal dimension that you don't see in a traditional debate.
It's the way democracy is supposed to work, like a town meeting, but this is a bigger one.
Right, and it's different than a town meeting because in a town meeting, people kind of nervous and they stand up and they're nervous and they're asking a question they've rehearsed in their heads. This is people in their bedrooms and they're asking very personal, very heartfelt questions.
And off-the-wall questions.
Sometimes.
So one of the big questions is if in the Democratic Party the front runners continue to be Senator Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, can there be a woman and a black on one ticket?
I don't see why not. I mean, I think those are certainly the two front runners of the Democratic Party. I think the country has certainly changed a lot. I don't know. Do you think there can be?
Well, you mean could they have a shot? You mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Could you have, let's say, Hillary, presidential candidate, and Obama? Usually the second most popular person, the first one very often picks that person, not always as the running mate. Yeah. But then people say, to have a woman for the first time is so revolutionary, and a black is so revolutionary.
So you're saying someone who's a sexist or a racist might not vote for them, but most people who are sexist have both things going on at one time, so that eliminates that whole thing.
Anderson, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it could. I think it could. Absolutely. I mean, it would certainly be something which would energize a lot of people, would get a lot of people
What about the rest
excited.
of them, though? There's Richardson is there, Biden, John Edwards. Are they going to be left standing, or are they just going to fade away?
John Edwards is doing very well in Iowa right now, and while we often look at this as a national race, this really, the way the primaries are set up, this is really about Iowa and New Hampshire, and to a lesser extent South Carolina. John Edwards feels very good about how he's doing in Iowa, although Senator Clinton and Obama are starting to erode some of that support.
So you think there could be a big surprise?
I think it's so far away. It's so impossible to tell. I mean, we're talking some 500 days until this election.
That doesn't stop us.
Well, no, nor should it.
It gives you a lot of time to get to know them. I kind of like it.
Really?
I think people are getting used to seeing Hillary now.
I just don't know what, 400 days from now, what are we going to be talking about? Like, same thing? Think so?
Well, there'll be other stuff going on in the world. We'll pull out of Iraq finally, I hope.
But I think, it's interesting to me. People talk about politics in America, but I don't think anybody really can predict what's going to happen. I remember the last election, on my program, I had Tucker Carlson and all these political experts saying, for a fact, the day before the election, for a fact, John Kerry's going to be elected president. And, these people don't know. The day before, they don't know. And so I think there's no telling what's going to happen. I mean, does Barack Obama have the kind of stamina to, people say running for president, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Does he have the kind of stamina to actually make it and last on in a long election cycle? No one knows.
We can take guesses anyway in this program today.
So the Republicans, not that I care, sorry, but the Republicans, McCain and Giuliani are the front runners?
Well, no. Giuliani is the front runner.
Giuliani, sorry.
McCain has faded a lot. He's had a lot of
That's true. See how little I care
about that. But I don't think you should rule out John McCain. I mean, John McCain, is a very strong guy. A lot of people say, look, he's having financial troubles right now, but he can kind of regroup.
He can. It looks I feel so bad for him, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't know. It just is such a shame.
His service to the country has been extraordinary.
He means well. Being, was in Vietnam and all that. Terrible.
You know what? But I met McCain, and I am a Democrat, but he is a very charismatic, smart, compassionate man. Yeah. And I said to him, after Bush got elected, I said, if we had to have Republican, why couldn't it have been you? And he said, well, that's nice. That's like saying, if you had to have cooties, And I said, yes.
Did John McCain actually use the word cooties?
I believe he did. And I said, you know what, though? Herpes, lasts forever. You don't always have to be a Republican, John. So maybe.
Why do I believe this is a conversation that probably didn't happen?
I think.
What about Fred Thompson? Fred Thompson, he hasn't joined the race yet. Do you think he hasn't declared yet?
Yeah, it's interesting. He's got a lot of support. He's doing very well in the polls. No one really knows anything about him other than they've seen him on Law and Order. So I think it'll be interesting to see once he actually. Frankly, I think if he's smart, he'll just stay out of the race as long as possible. And he's doing better than a lot of people who are in the race.
Coming out about how he worked for pro-choice people in the old days, and now he's anti-choice. So he's a little tricky and flip-flopping.
And then there is maybe Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York. You know, this is going to. Sometimes we have elections where it's a foregone conclusion, and there's still a little bit of.
Oh, I think this is one of the most exciting elections that certainly I've ever covered. I mean, you have whatever your politics, you have smart people on both sides of the aisle running for this office, and anything could really happen. And there's Republicans that a lot of Democrats could support. There's Democrats that some Republicans can support. So I think it's. I think it's going to be an exciting race.
But the Republicans aren't even supporting Giuliani right now.
Well, because he's very liberal Republican, social liberal.
But even in states, I mean, in South Carolina, Giuliani's doing very well, which is a conservative state, and you might not expect Giuliani with his social record.
But it brings up different issues, because in the past, if somebody had been married several times, or if somebody was pro-choice and was a Republican, you'd be. But the times really have changed. So I wonder, what are the issues that people care about?
I think certainly people look at Giuliani and see, security. They talk about security. The war in Iraq is probably the #1 issue for both the Democrats and perhaps for Republicans.
How we get out of it?
Homeland security. Well, for Democrats, certainly how we get out of it.
Don't you think people look at the Republican lineup and say, compared to the rest of them, Giuliani looks the best because there's such a bunch of losers?
Well, Mitt Romney is not. But that's not true. Mitt Romney, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, has not been a loser. He's been very successful.
No, he's doing badly now. He's not doing well.
But you're talking about losers as people. We don't know what's going on.
I've been watching them for a long time now, and do you think George Bush? Up till now.
But you know how you feel before anybody even opens their mouth.
No, but McCain I liked, and I think he hasn't got a shot right now. But isn't Bush hurting his own party now? And how many more Republicans are going to defect from the party?
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether they actually try to have President Bush campaign, once there actually is a nominee, whether they have President Bush try to campaign for them, or whether they my sense is not.
Thank you so much, but no.
Right.
We're going to go, no.
Yeah, I think not.
Don't speak.
They did that with Bill Clinton, and there still is a question about whether it's helpful or hurtful for Bill Clinton to campaign with his wife.
Well, that's because they don't want him to overshadow her. But as far as the party is concerned, Bill Clinton is an asset, whereas Bush is a liability.
Well, I think for some people, they would argue against that. They would say Bill Clinton is not an asset. But certainly among the people who support Hillary Clinton, I think, and there are a lot of Democrats out there who obviously think very fondly of Bill Clinton.
I love Hillary, and I think you need, at this point in the world, when America has so many enemies globally, you need the finesse and the empathy of a woman to fix the entire situation.
Seem to have a Republican on this panel, except that nobody knows your opinion or my opinion, Anderson. That's the only saving.
Maybe Melissa's a Republican.
No, I don't think so. This is why we don't give opinions.
This is why I like being a journalist.
Well, you know what? You're a wonderful journalist, and at one point you were with our company, and I wish you had stayed. I would have voted, but you're doing so well, and we thank you for coming on with us. You can catch Anderson Cooper 360 weeknights on CNN. I know I do. Thanks so much. We'll be back with a fall.